Antarctica is not just ice, it is pressure, weight, a frozen silence that has been building for millions of years, layer upon layer, like a vault sealed by time itself. Beneath this ice is rock no human has seen, valleys no satellite can map, and secrets no nation openly discusses. At the bottom of the world, nothing moves without permission. This continent does not invite exploration, it resists it. And yet, in the years following World War II, the United States sent one of the largest military operations in history straight into this frozen void. In 1946, just months after the atomic bomb ended the war, the U.S. Navy launched Operation High Jump. Officially, it was a training exercise, a way to test men, machines, and survival tactics in extreme cold. Unofficially, the scale made no sense. 13 ships, an aircraft carrier, submarines, over 30 aircraft, and nearly 4,700 military personnel. This was not a scouting mission, it was an invasion force. No enemy nation was stationed in Antarctica, no war was being fought there, and yet the most powerful military on Earth mobilized as if preparing for confrontation. Leading the mission was Admiral Richard Evelyn Byrd, a national hero, a polar explorer, a man trusted with secrets. Byrd had flown over both poles, commanded massive expeditions, and earned the full confidence of the U.S. government. Years later, documents attributed to Byrd would surface, diary entries describing something far beyond cold weather drills, something beyond official history. Byrd wrote of flying beyond the South Pole itself, beyond the known ice fields, into a region that should not exist. According to these entries, the terrain transformed, ice receded, mountains rose, and beneath the aircraft, Byrd claimed to see land, green, vast, and alive. Warm air, flowing water, vegetation, a hidden world where no such world should be. Then came the objects, fast, silent, disc-shaped, flying with control far beyond any known aircraft of the era. Byrd described them as flying saucers, not experimental, not human, machines that outperformed his plane with ease, escorting it as if it were being watched. In the diary, Byrd claimed his instruments failed, his aircraft was guided, taken without resistance, as though force was unnecessary. What he described next defied everything known to science, a city, advanced, luminous, hidden beneath the ice of Antarctica. Whether these entries are literal truth, classified metaphor, or something else entirely, one fact remains undeniable. Operation High Jump was supposed to last 6 months. It ended in 8 weeks. Equipment was destroyed, aircraft were lost, lives were taken. The Navy retreated, suddenly, urgently, without explanation. Official reports cited weather, mechanical failure, harsh conditions, but Antarctica had always been harsh. That was never new. What was new was the silence. No detailed debrief, no public investigation, just a quiet withdrawal from the southernmost continent on Earth. In the years that followed, Antarctica became something else entirely. In 1959, the Antarctic Treaty was signed. No military activity, no mining, no territorial claims, no permanent population. Today, it is the most restricted place on the planet. Satellites blur certain regions, flights are tightly controlled, independent exploration is nearly impossible. The official story says Antarctica is protected for peace and science, but history suggests another reason. Something was found, something ancient, something frozen, and once it was seen, the world agreed, without debate, that it should remain buried. This is only the beginning.
History explains what happened. Theology asks why. And to understand Antarctica, some believe the story does not begin with governments or admirals, but with scripture older than civilization itself. Long before satellites, long before maps, long before recorded history, there was a text removed from the Bible and preserved in fragments, the Book of Enoch. Enoch is not a warrior or a king. He is a witness, a man said to have walked with God and shown places no human was meant to see. In the book of Enoch, there is a warning, a vision of beings who descended to earth before the flood. Not gods, not men, the Watchers. These Watchers were tasked with observing humanity. Instead, Enoch writes, they interfered. They taught forbidden knowledge. They altered creation itself. For this, they were judged. Enoch describes being taken to a place prepared for the stars that transgressed, a prison at the ends of the earth. He writes of a land of burning fire beneath columns of crystal, a place of punishment, a place of containment. Fire and ice, heat sealed beneath frozen stone. To the ancient world, such a description would have seemed impossible. Today, Antarctica contains one of the southernmost active volcanoes on Earth, Mount Erebus, a constant lake of molten lava surrounded by miles of ice. Burning fire, crystal walls, a contradiction made real. Enoch did not know the word Antarctica. He did not know latitude or longitude, but he knew direction. He called it the ends of the earth. For most of human history, Antarctica was not explored. It was imagined, a blank space, a place no one could reach and no one could leave. According to Enoch, the Watchers were not destroyed. They were imprisoned, bound beneath the earth until a final judgment. Frozen, contained, hidden from humanity by design. This is where theology collides with modern history. If Bird's account is taken at face value, the beings he encountered were not explorers from another planet. They did not arrive from the stars. They were already here. Advanced, ancient, older than human civilization, technology or power preserved through millennia of isolation. To ancient writers, such beings were angels. To modern eyes, they would appear as something else entirely. Silent craft, impossible speed, total control of the environment, not visitors, wardens of their own prison. If something ancient and dangerous were discovered beneath the ice, containment would be the only option. No mining, no militarization, no permanent settlement. Antarctica is not claimed because it cannot be claimed. Not because it is empty, but because it is not. The theory suggests the Watchers remain there still, preserved, watching, waiting, not dead, not free, simply dormant beneath miles of ice and centuries of silence. If Enoch was right, Antarctica is not a wilderness. It is a prison, and prisons exist for a reason.
If Antarctica is a prison, the question becomes unavoidable. How long has it been known? In 1513, an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis compiled a map using sources he claimed were already ancient. Fragments from lost libraries, records from an earlier world. At the bottom of the map is something unsettling, a coastline that matches Antarctica, not buried under ice, but exposed. Modern surveys show that the Piri Reis coastline aligns with Antarctica's bedrock, mountains, bays, river systems, features only visible today through ice-penetrating radar. Official history says Antarctica has been frozen for at least 6,000 years, yet this map shows it ice-free, which raises a forbidden question. Who saw Antarctica before the ice? Centuries later, modern technology would begin to notice something else. In multiple regions of Antarctica, mountains appear with near-perfect geometric symmetry. 4 distinct sides, straight edges, proportions that echo the pyramids of Egypt and Mesoamerica. Geologists insist they are natural, products of erosion and chance, But critics point to their scale, their alignment, their isolation. Ancient cultures across the world built pyramids without contact, or so we are told. Some believe these are not mountains at all, but ruins, weathered remnants of something built long before ice claimed the continent. If the Watchers were imprisoned here, they would not have been left without structure, without containment. And containment generates heat. In recent years, satellites have detected massive thermal anomalies beneath Antarctica's ice sheet, not near the coast, not explained by known volcanoes, heat signatures spanning miles. Official explanations cite underground magma and tectonic movement, but the scale does not always match known models. Ice that should be stable is melting from below. A prison requires power, and power produces heat. In classified radar scans allegedly show geometric formations deep under the ice sheet, right angles, caverns, chambers. Officially, no such structures exist. Unofficially, whispers say otherwise. In recent years, whistleblowers from scientific and military backgrounds have described discoveries never shared with the public. They speak of massive hollow spaces, of equipment malfunctioning near certain coordinates, of areas suddenly declared off-limits, flights diverted, data classified, entire regions removed from public satellite feeds, not because of foreign threats, but because something ancient remains active. To ancient writers, this power was divine. To modern institutions, it is classified. The theory suggests the prison is not abandoned, it is weakening. If the heat continues to rise, ice that held for thousands of years may not hold much longer. The evidence is fragmented: maps, mountains, heat, testimony. Alone, each piece can be dismissed. Together, they form a question humanity has avoided for centuries. What happens if the prison finally opens?
If the Watchers are real, they were never meant to be small. Ancient texts describe them as giants, not symbolic, literal. The Book of Enoch says they descended to earth and altered humanity forever. They taught forbidden knowledge, how to forge weapons, how to manipulate metals, how to alter the face with cosmetics, how to summon forces unseen. Knowledge that accelerated civilization, knowledge humanity was not ready to receive. The Watchers were not benevolent teachers, they were corruptors, and once their influence spread too far, judgment followed. The New Testament book of Jude states they were bound in chains of darkness, imprisoned until the final judgment. Chains do not have to be metal. Chains can be pressure, isolation, cold. Antarctica may not be a coincidence. It may be the mechanism. The Watchers are not dead. They are suspended, locked in stasis, a punishment designed not to destroy, but to hold. And stasis is not sleep, it is waiting. Today, scientists drill deeper into Antarctica than ever before, searching for ancient bacteria, climate data, answers about Earth's past. But the deeper they go, the closer they move to something else. The risk is not contamination, it is disturbance. What happens when a prison wall is breached? Ancient texts warn that the Watchers were never meant to return, that their release would bring chaos, deception, and domination, not invasion from the stars, re-emergence from below. Some researchers point to a different signal, one that has been quietly changing. The Schumann resonance is the Earth's natural electromagnetic heartbeat. For decades, it was stable, predictable. Recently, it has begun to change. Official explanations cite solar activity and human technology, but the strongest fluctuations are observed near the poles, as if the planet itself is reacting. Ancient texts describe the Earth responding when divine beings move, mountains shaking, skies roaring. If the Watchers remain alive beneath the ice, even their stirring could affect the planet that cages them.
The prison was built for a different age, a time without drills, without satellites, without curiosity that refuses to stop digging. Humanity believes it is uncovering history. It may be loosening a seal. The Watchers do not need armies. They taught humans to build them once. They do not need worship. They once received it. And if they wake, they will not arrive as strangers. They will return as teachers.
The ice is changing. Not in theory, not in models, in real time. Climate change is real. The planet is warming. The data is undeniable. But the consequence may be far greater than rising seas and broken coastlines. Because ice does more than reflect sunlight, it seals. For thousands of years, Antarctica has been locked, pressurized, isolated, a natural containment system no human hand could have engineered. And now, that system is failing. If the Watchers were bound in chains of darkness, the ice itself may be those chains. Every degree of warming weakens the seal. Every fracture opens a path. This is not the only place where ancient barriers are breaking. The book of Revelation speaks of 4 angels bound beneath the Euphrates River, held there until the river dries. Today, the Euphrates is drying at an unprecedented rate. 2 prisons, 2 seals, both weakening at the same moment in history. Coincidence is a word used when patterns are ignored. Ancient texts describe a coordinated release, not chaos, but timing. The world is focused on symptoms, floods, fires, droughts. Few are asking what those changes unlock. Jesus issued a warning that echoes across centuries. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. The days of Noah were not defined by rain alone. They were marked by forbidden beings, by knowledge that twisted humanity, by Watchers walking openly among men. The flood was not just judgment, it was a reset. The warning is clear. When the Watchers return, the age ends. Humanity believes it is mastering nature. It may be dismantling restraints it does not understand. That is why we watch. We watch the river. We watch the poles. Because vigilance is the difference between warning and surprise. The watchmen in ancient times stood on the walls. They warned the city before the gates fell. This channel exists for the same reason. Subscribe, stay informed, be part of the Watchman community. Do not be caught sleeping. The seals are breaking, the ice is melting, and they are hungry.